Welcome everyone. This is Service via Video. We are going to talk today about using video as a way to inspire. All right. So when we talk about using video, there's a lot of different pieces of it, and I think that a lot of what makes video easy now is something that is not all that clear to a lot of people. So I'm hoping to clarify that as we go. So we'll jump into this. So first of all, I want you to know that I am a former teacher. I was a high school teacher of Japanese language for many years, great fun. Then I was a principal. I was principal of a K-12 school and then an online high school. And then I started this little shindig called NextVista for Learning and been at it for 15 years, working to build a library of videos by and for teachers and students everywhere. In that library, you'll see a lot of different kinds of videos. This is all free. This is just out there to help teachers with ideas and to help kids, with different things they encounter in school as well. So our biggest collection, light bulbs, is all the kind of stuff that you encounter in classes. So, imagine that you're in class and you think, I have no idea what this teacher is telling me. And then someone who has this really good insight says, hey, look at it this way. Wouldn't it be cool if that video was available for anybody to be able to say, oh, that's what my teacher was telling me, right? So that's the idea of light bulbs. Global Views is about communities around the world. There are all kinds of places to explore and that we can share by saying, hey, this is a part of what my community means to me. And so we have videos on that kids have made. Service to others, a lot of kids need to understand the joy and meaning that come from serving others. And so we have videos about service to inspire them. That's part of what we're looking to do in this webinar, is to inspire more people to make videos that can fit there, although these videos can be useful to you for any number of reasons. We also have videos about lots of different careers, because career exploration is important. When kids see a path that they're excited about, changes how they think about their learning, And also, we're trying to build the largest collection of free videos for those learning English anywhere on the planet. So we'll get over 600 videos in that set so far. But if you're curious about any of that, just stay in touch with me, and I hope that that'll be interesting to you. I always like to start out the webinars I do with some thanks, because I think there are plenty of people that should be thanked for this kind of thing. So I do a lot of work with Richard Byrne. He and I do a weekly webinar called Two Ed Tech Guys Take Questions and Share Cool Stuff. And we did one of those earlier today. You might have, if you'd scroll down a bit on the webinars page, you'd see that now as the most recent recording that's available there. We put all the recordings on that page. We're thinking about kind of moving them out to a space by the category, but at the time being, you can get to them all there. Now let's see what else we got here. So Richard, thanks to him, I've got a link on this slide. You'll get the slides if you want them, called for Free Tech for Teachers. That is his site. Loads and loads of good ideas on different kinds of technologies that are out there. Now I'll tell you this. Stories matter a great deal. And the truth is that a lot of folks do not do the work they might need to share stories that could inspire others. I want you to get back to your keyboard. I want you to add something to the chat right now. Take a quick check, and where it says to, I hope you've moved it from all panelists to all panelists and attendees, right? And so what I want to do is I want to get a sense of, why are you here? Are you an educator? Are you a Rotarian? Both are groups that I've spent plenty of time getting word out about this too, and so had some help from some different friends on getting that out as well. But just put that in the chat. Are you an educator? Are you a Rotarian? Are you some other category? All good. But put that in. So we got Jeanette and Sandy are educators. Karen's a Rotarian. Peggy is a retired principal. Hilda, Rotarian, educator. High school math teacher, educator, and Rotarian. Catherine, nicely done. All right. Chris, a Rotarian and a video storyteller. Nice. So we got a lot of people here for a lot of different reasons. But when we think about, oh, Karen, cool, virtual. Yes. So one of the things about video is that it gives people the chance to tell their stories in a way that is much more engaging. And you might think, oh, that's because of what video is. Actually, it's about how we approach it, right? So if you write something and your goal is simply to get to the end of the page, that's very different than if you write it and you go back and you change it and you make some changes here and you get some feedback and you put things in. Like, you can write much better than you do. That's true for most people, mostly because they don't do a lot of revision. They don't go in and say, well, how could I change this? What would be cooler? Get some ideas from different people. But that comes much more naturally in video. And so when we talk about the power of stories, what are these stories for? They are stories of learning in a classroom. For, if educators are in the group thinking, what's this Rotarian word you keep saying? If you are a member of a service club, such as Rotary International, there are stories that are part of your club. So what are the things you do in your community to help the homeless, or to help, to help kids in straits, or, in one way or another? What is it that you do as a part of your group that allows people to understand why you do what you do? So why would you be an educator? Why would your kids understand the kinds of things that they're supposed to understand as a part of your class? Why would you be in a service club? Why do you do what you do? And these stories, when told well, inspire other people to think, I want to do that too, or I want to learn that too. And so that's what we're looking to do as a part of sharing videos in a cool way. All right. Now, we are at a special moment in history, of course, with the pandemic, frightening and horrible on so many fronts. It has also forced us to think about how we communicate in new ways. And that generates opportunities. It generates opportunities for us to think about ways we can tell our stories at a time when people are in kind of a different place for hearing stories. So, as we talk about creating videos, understand that this is a time when you might be able to get people to see possibilities in themselves they haven't seen before. So as an educator, I'm a person who's very much into how do we help make these moments not just fill in some fashion for not being able to get to our schools and be in our classrooms, but how can we use these moments in ways that might actually inspire kids who have had kind of a tough time finding a match in school up to this point. This is going to be true for communities and service as well. There are people who would be jazzed to be part of a service organization if they knew what these organizations do. And in order to do that, you have to share the stories in a way that would be compelling to them. And we're going to take a look today at a tool called Adobe Spark. So I'm going to show you how this works. Quick shout out to my friends in the Mission San Jose Rotary Club. I spoke to their club at lunch today, and we did kind of a quick run through some of these things, although I'll take it a little more slowly as we go. Now, I'm curious in the chat, how many of you have used Adobe Spark before? So actually just do this, say yes or no. I have used it before, or I have not. So I see Peggy's used it, then no, 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 and no, no, yes, used it, no, 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 no. And so for most of you, it looks like you've never seen this before. And that's fine. There's something important to understand about a tool like this. And we talked about this in the Mission San Jose Club in the meeting today. Technology is getting simpler in many ways. The stuff that we want to use has to be stuff that we can learn quickly, because otherwise, why bother? Who wants to spend weeks and weeks and weeks trying to learn some software or whatever? We want these things to be kind of intuitive. And so the really strong technologies that are out there are the ones that allow us to look at it and go, huh, and to start figuring things out pretty quickly. Now, how quickly is one of those things. It just depends on whether you're familiar with this kind of tool or not. But you can learn this stuff pretty quickly. And one punchline for all we do is that use YouTube, right? YouTube, there are tutorials for everything. And you guys remind me towards later in the webinar, I'll explain some tricks for finding things in YouTube in a good way. So I'm going to shift from where we are over to Spark. Now, understand first that like a lot of tools, you have to have an account. So you go to what's spark.adobe.com, and I'm going to grab that from right up here and stick it in the chat. All right, so that you can get to it. I would say that trying to follow along with what I'm going to do is not going to be functional. I mean, I would say, get the link up, get to the page, but don't try to do things at the same rate I'm doing them. Just don't do that, because my goal is to have you see what it can do, and then you can get in and start messing with it. But having like a kind of a global sense of it first will be a good move. All right. So as we start into this, just have in mind, what are the stories you want to tell? Are they stories about something you teach? Are they stories about service activities your club does? Are they stories about your family? Do you want to like get a set of pictures from around your house and convert those into a video? So you go take a picture of the cat, and you take a picture of the outdoors, and you take a picture of you and a significant other, or whatever you're doing, and create a video out of that. The tool that I'm about to show you is one that will allow you to do that very, very easily. All right, so let's take a look. Once you have an account, and by the way, when you're creating an account, sometimes it'll say things like create account using Google, and if you do that, it simplifies the process going in. So any trusted company, and Adobe's a good one, is the kind of thing where you can make that work pretty well. So I'm going to click create a project, and when I do, it shows me a number of options here, right? So I've got Instagram post, Facebook cover, collage, web page, video, branded graphic, custom size graphic. So a lot of possibilities. I'm going to click on video. And in clicking on video, it loads things up so that we can see it as kind of a, all right, let's see what it is we want to talk about. Now, so it asks for a title to get things going. And let's say that your club or your students have done a project where the idea is to clean up an area of a local park. All right, and so you want to tell the story about this. This is the kind of thing that it's kind of a social thing for a service club. They get together, they're making things better in the park. They clean this and that. Maybe they're building a piece. Students are doing the same thing. They're enjoying it for social reasons too. So they're in that space of being able to say, oh yeah, this is something we helped make happen. And somebody should be taking pictures, right? Because if you can just get some pictures, even still pictures, you'll end up being able to make some cool videos. So we're gonna call this Park Cleanup. All right, and I'll go next. Now what it does initially, what Spark does, everybody keep close attention here, is it says, well, which of these templates would you like to use, or would you like to start from scratch? If you're new to Spark, choose start from scratch, because otherwise you'll be in a template and it'll have arranged some things for you and you'll be like, I don't know why that's, unless you know what you're doing, it's easier to start from scratch. I mean, it's just easier to use the tool. So start from scratch, big red, start from scratch, good way to go. So I'm going to click on that. And what it does is it loads up our tool for creating the video. Now, the first thing it gives me is a video that reminds me how to use the tool. And I don't know if you can see this right here. It's a minute and 7 seconds long, 67 seconds. Any tool that can remind you how to use it in 67 seconds is promising, right? Because you want to be able to use things that don't require tons and tons and tons of stuff. So I'm going to click OK, I'm ready. You can click the X as well, either way. And now I'm in this space. And it looks a little bit like a PowerPoint area, right? There are these things at the bottom that kind of look like slides. And there's this one slide you're working on. That's what it looks like. And I might even call them slides as we go. However, what these are not slides. They're pieces of a video we're going to make. Now, you can change the theme. So there are a number of different themes here, title, elevate, focus, flare, blah, 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 blah. All of these. And just pick any of them that seems kind of cool to you. When you hover over them, as you can see, it'll show you what the transitions look like. So if you're going from one piece of the video to another, it'll do like it's doing as I hover over it. You'll also see in doing this what the lettering will look like. You don't go in and change font or anything like this. The idea in Spark is to make it really, really simple for you. So to just pull things together that way. Now, what we'll do is we'll go ahead and use, let's say, I'm gonna click on that one and go with the blue right there. It's not a perfect rotary blue, but we'll go with it. All right, so there we are. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put together our story. Now, for videos, and especially videos along the lines of the ones that I'm describing to you, right? What matters is the story. So the technical aspects of it, that you don't need a video that's created by a professional. It's great to have the money to be able to have professionals do a wonderful job. That's a great thing. A lot of nonprofits don't, And so if you're doing a service project where you're helping a nonprofit do something in the community, whether it's clean up a park or feed the homeless or whatever it might be, the chances are fairly good that that nonprofit is overworked, understaffed, and underfunded. And if you step in to say, hey, can we make a video about what you do? You know, we volunteered with you and really enjoyed it. We'd like to make a video about that. It's a one brain cell decision for them to be like, yeah, absolutely, we'd love your help. So we'll talk about kind of that as a process, especially for you educators, how to talk about it in such a way as to get students doing these things if they're interested. Now, back to how to make this video. Every video is a story, right? And what you're doing is you're lining up the things that will be part of this story. So maybe what you want to talk about is you want to talk about kind of what it is and what you do and blah, blah, blah. All right, in this case, let's just create as simple a story as we can. And we're going to say text, all right? And what we're doing is say we're telling about a volunteer event. All right, so we're going to call it Central Park, Central, of course, right? Central Park Cleanup 2020. All right, something like that. So you have this text here. You can make it smaller or bigger, right? That's fine, and you can move it around a bit, but that's about it. Right? You know, when you're putting this together, it gives you kind of these minimal options with the idea that it's giving you the fastest path to making a pretty good little video. The next thing I'm going to do is come down here to where there's this plus. So there's a white slide in the lower left with a plus, and that means that I'm adding another piece of the video, right? So it's not really a slide, it's a piece of a video. And we can say, okay, so I'm going to click text. Oh, not text. I'm going to click icon. My other choices, by the way, are photo and video, and we'll come back and talk about those as we get a little farther into it. So I click on icon, and I put in park, just to see, like, okay, does it find something that works for park? And turns out it does. So there's lots of little pieces here, and we can grab any of these and just click them, and boom, they appear in there, and there we go. So we've got a little icon. Good, good. Create another little piece of the video here. And this time I'm going to say, let's add a photo. Now, the first thing it'll do is do a search on park, because I was looking for park for an icon a minute ago. So it carries that over. But I can go back, I can upload my own photos, and the chances are pretty good that if you're telling about a service project, that's what you'll be doing. So you see where the little back arrow is. I can click upload photo, or I can find free photos and just do it based on this. And so these are from Unsplash. Technically, you don't need to cite things that you get from Unsplash, although I think it's always a good idea to do so, because you want to recognize the work of the people who donated these to make them available. So I'm going to pick this one here by Jessica Fertney, I believe is her name. And now we have this in here. Now we could keep adding more pictures, but I want you to just see how the process works with this. So I'm gonna come back to the three things I've chosen. So I've got that picture, I've got that icon, and I've got the title. And what we're doing is we're creating a very short video that people might want to share with somebody else. Now, by the way, short and want to share go together. You know, the longer the video, the less likely people will watch it or want to share it, right? So short videos are good. If your group, if your class, if your service club does a project and can capture in like 60 seconds or less what that thing was about, the chances of it getting shared are good. Okay, so Central Park cleanup. So what I'm going to do for each of these three slides now is I'm going to use this red button in the middle to record my voice. Now, making this up as I go, so hopefully, you know, what you do is you actually think through a proper script and it'll sound better, but, you know, be forgiving. Here we go. Hey, everybody, in February, we went to Central Park and did some cleanup. And I go to the next one. Our main job was to remove litter and install a few picnic tables so families could come and spend a little time together at Central Park. We're excited that we had the chance to get together and to serve our community by doing this. And hopefully you'll be interested in joining us the next time we do one of these events. I don't know if you could tell, but if you talk too long, a little thing appears saying, keep it short, right? Because you don't want to just have the same visual for like, you know, half a minute on end. You want to keep these things short and bring these pieces together. You say, okay, fair enough. You've been recording your voice. You've got these things you chose. You could have pulled in some video. I saw that when you have the plus, right? But what's it doing? Why is this thing interesting? Well, you might see two play buttons over here. There's one over here, and this one within this slide will just let you see what it sounds like just in the slide. But if I click the main play button in the lower left, it'll show me what it has pulled together with the little work that I've done. And here we go. Hey everybody, in February, we went to Central Park and did some cleanup. Our main job was to remove litter and install a few picnic tables so families could come and spend a little time together at Central Park. We're excited that we had the chance to get together and to serve our community by doing this. And hopefully you'll be interested in joining us the next time we do one of these events. All right, now in the chat, just like give me a quick reaction to that. You know, like what do you think? Is that cool? Is that disappointing? What do you got? Karen says, love it. All right, you know, what else you got? So we got some different thoughts. You know, cool and easy, simple, cool. And by the way, that the word cool keeps coming up, all right? Like think about the words here, right? Easy, cool, love, these are good words. If these are the way people are reacting to things, that's important. Right? Cool means that they're much more likely to share it. Love it means like, hey, I'm excited about what I've done, right? Sound needs to be improved. Fair enough. All right. All good. All good. And good planning will go a long way on that front. Now, let's talk a little bit about how this becomes something valuable to you. I like something Hilda just put in, to the point, right? When you tell your stories, sometimes like, you know, our students, sometimes our service clubs, they like spend all day telling their story and people are like, I don't know, I stopped listening 20 minutes ago. To the point's a good way to tell a story such that it'll be shared. Matter of fact, leave them wanting some more, right? You know, have a story in such a way that they're like, I want to learn more about that. How do I get involved? You know, because in the same way that we had this slide with this text on it, we could finish with a slide that says, if you'd like to be involved with something like this, blah, 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 right? So you can put these together really nicely and easily. Now, take a look in the upper part here. There are two things at the top. You can download what you have done. You can still go back and change, right? But you can download it as it is at the moment. That'll be what's called an MP4 format. That's like probably the most common format for video, at least normal consumer quality video stuff. And then share. Share will actually process the video and create a link so that that link is something that you can share. And one of the nice things about sharing it via an Adobe Spark is that it shares it on a page that's really, really simple. So I love YouTube, but there's just like a lot of stuff going on a YouTube page. And so it's nice to have like a simple page to share it in. I'm going to click this X in the upper right so that I can go back to editing our little video. Now, can you connect individual videos to each other? Hey, Karen, great question. So there are a couple of ways about that kind of thing. Without a doubt, given how easy it is to pull some of these pieces together, you might just say, well, you know, I'll just make sure that I've got my media in the right place and I pull it in, you know, so that I can easily recreate it. Because one danger, you can, for example, drop them all as MP4s and then pull those together by, you know, bringing them in as clips and stuff. But it might be a little more work than you want to do. If you have any skills with another editor, such as iMovie or something, you can pull those together. But remember, it's easy to remember to keep your vocal levels at about the same level of you know, volume when you're doing it like I just did. But if you're pulling different ones together, you might find that you were talking like this at one point, and the next time you were talking like this, and so it kind of goes up and down. And consistency in audio is a really important thing for people responding well to it. Is the size of the video make it hard to share and for others via email? See, great question, Sheila. Very, very important question about how you want to do this. And this is important for service people, for educators, both. If you are an educator, you want your students to share with you not the video, but links to the video, right? Service, exactly the same thing. If you want others to know about the service projects your group is doing, you don't want to like attach a huge video to an email. That just eats up everybody's email space, right? Instead, You upload it to YouTube or whatever, Vimeo, any of those like that, or into Google Drive and set a sharing setting so that it's visible to those who have the link. And then you're just sending the link to people. Now, in this, you saw earlier when we were talking about share, and it's still up here. When you do that, you're going to get a link. So you'll be sending people a link, and that's a great way to go. That simplifies tons. So great question from Sheila on that. Now, take a look. I want to show you a couple of the pieces of this. In the upper right, there is a thing that says music, and so there's a lot of different kinds of music here that they've created, and it's just available in this, although you can add your own if you want. So do understand that if you are adding, say, popular songs, like commercially available songs, you might not be able to upload it to YouTube because that's actually not copyright friendly of you to do, shall we say. But the kind of stuff they have here is just fine. And there are some sites, and I'll tell you about a few of them a little bit in a few minutes, that you can go and you can get other pieces of music that are okay for you to use as well. All right, now, having put all this together, you first of all know that if you want to make videos and get good at them using Spark or anything else, you got to play with it, right? And one of the most important things I can tell you is that when you start trying to use a tool like this, don't say, all right, I will now make the wedding video for my kid's wedding from last weekend. Don't start there, right? Start with something really, really simple so you can just try it out. That's the way to get good at things. You just be like, well, what if I did this? Or what if I did that? If you want to make a wedding video, just start with, like, just one little piece of it, right? And pull those pieces together, right? So take your time in getting into it. Try different things out. Look around the screen and be like, what does that do? What does that do? What does theme do? Okay, oh yeah, that was that thing where I can change the way that the transitions happen and the font and blah, 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 right? So there's a lot of pieces to this. If you click on layout, you'll see that you've got some options over here. You can have like a picture with a caption that way or a split screen. It's got a number of little things. Play with it. That's how you learn. That's how you learn text, is to play with these things. All right, so I'm going to shift back to my slides and talk a little bit more about this as a project. Now, the project itself is one where my little nonprofit loves to find ways to inspire others. And we've got a lot of cool videos about service to others that kids have made. And I'm going to show you where a link to some of that stuff here in just a minute. But think about this as a project. So educators think about it like, what if I were asking my kids to tell stories of people in the community who make life better for others? Service clubs, for you, the project is, how do we tell the story of our service activities so that others can, get a sense of, who our group is? I also would encourage you to keep what you are doing under 2 minutes. Now, if you are doing this as a student, as a part of what my nonprofit does, you have up to another 60 seconds for credits, right? As a part of that. But keep what you're doing up under 2 minutes. That's an important thing to do. Like I said before, the longer it is, the less likely people will watch it or share it. Oh, no, it's okay. Ours was only 8 minutes long. That's a long video. 8 minutes is a long video. You might be thinking that says something about my attention span. I'm not alone, right? It has to be good to hold my attention for a long time. But 45 seconds, I'm in. I'm in for the entire thing. And, if you're like, well, I can't make a short video. We've got these 3 big pieces of this project we need to talk about. All right, make 3 little videos. All good. All right. Now, if you are doing this as a student for an educator project, you're also going to need to follow our sources and citation rules. I'll tell you a little bit about that. There are some great tools out there, resource sites that will allow you to put a lot of neat things together. So when we do things asking students to do it, we say things like, all right, here are the things you can use. We want them to learn about intellectual property issues, learn to cite their sources, and we'll talk a little bit about that in the next slide. But you can use anything you create yourself. So if you took the pictures or you took the footage or you did the artwork, good, totally good. Cite your own work. Like that's important for kids. If you are showing the work of a nonprofit, in that case, they may provide you with things. They may say, hey, here are some pictures of things that we do. You say, thank you. Matter of fact, if you're a student, learn to do kind of a proper request. Excuse me, we're excited to be making a video for your upcoming event for your nonprofit. Do you have any pictures from last year's event that we could use as part of the video, right? So learn to ask those questions And that's the kind of thing you want feedback from each other on as well. And then you can grab some things from online. So there are some things here, for example, about clip art and about images. Got some sites there, and music from different sites as well. All of that is stuff that you are legally allowed to use. Chris makes a great point in the chat about a mind can absorb only what a viewer's rear end can endure. Right? So that's a big message. You know, actually, Chris is the guy who does this professionally. So you know, listen close as he tells you about that. Now, when we ask people to add citations at the end, and so anybody who's making a video for our site, anything where we want to model that, right? And so we're not looking for like MLA college research paper citations. That's not the point. The point is, what's the name of the work, who's responsible for it, and where'd you get it, right? So you're trying to get you're trying to like meet the spirit of citation law as well. Honor the person whose work it is and give them a path back, give the viewer a path back to where you found it. And so the example at the bottom, Potato Deal is a song by a person named Craig MacArthur from the YouTube audio library. Understand, with YouTube, we're not talking about anything from YouTube. We're talking about a specific thing in YouTube called the audio library. It's got a lot of music you can use for projects you do. All right. And there are some mistakes that a lot of people make when they're doing videos. So first of all, if there is a deadline for what you're doing, don't wait until the last minute. You need to get feedback from different people and to work with that feedback to make that video as good as it can be. If you are putting something in for NextVista, make sure that you are following our rules about sources, because sometimes people think, oh yeah, I always hear that, but they never police it. We care, all right? And so if you're putting it in for something that we do, just make sure that you're following that rule. And likewise, cite your sources. Now, when I say missing opportunities for good feedback, understand, like we were talking about before, if you write a script and you put it in front of people and say, what do you think? You're going to get some ideas. And if they give you an idea you don't like, you just say thank you and keep going. No problem. If they give you an idea that you do like, you're like, So work that in as you go as well. In a service club, talk with each other about what's good, right? About, well, what makes sense to tell this story well. Is this something that you would share with somebody else, yes or no, and why, right? So those kinds of questions can allow you to make a much better video than if you don't do these things. Now, production over story. If I have to choose between a good story and weak production, and great production and a weak story, I'll go with a good story every single time, right? Because a very well done video of an uninteresting story does not get shared. But people don't care at all if it's weak production if they love the story. Now, obviously, the best thing would be like you've got a good story and you really brought it together well. But if you're choosing between the two, focus on the story. And if you think in those terms, you might end up with a much better produced video as well. And sometimes when students send us links for videos they've created, it'll say things like, this video is private. Well, boom, we're not considering it for inclusion on our site because we can't see it. So check that kind of thing before you do it. And then this last one, not looking for ideas in examples. So as I promised you before, like this is a page that I'd like everybody to take a good look at. What I'm going to do is this is the longer piece of it. I mean, you can type it in either way. But these are service videos that students have made over the years that we have done what we call our Service Via Video contest, right? And so any educators in the group, if you want your students doing this kind of thing, feel free to let them know, right? We love seeing kids do a great job telling stories. And so here's one that I was showing our district governor recently, right? And it's one that was put together, I think, using iMovie, but take a look as it goes. This guy's actually talking in the background. But most of it is just pictures, right? And so that's the idea, is just to be able to pull things together in a really simple fashion. But the way the kid talks about it is really compelling. And so you learn what's going on with these people. They just play baseball with kids who've got some challenges in some fashion. And you get to the end of this and you're like, these people are great. They do some really great things. That's the idea. It's just to be able to get those things out there. And so when you think about trying to make a good video, if you go to the trouble of looking at some different examples, you can really make a lot of strides, right? So take a look at this and then try things out. You're not going to nail it all the first time, but no worries. So Sonia puts in there, oh, you make it sound so simple. Actually, what's simple is getting going. And a simple tool allows you to get going, because most people stop when it gets hard initially because it's too hard, right? The tool is too complex. But if it's like this, you can kind of get in, you can start figuring it out, you can end up with some really good videos. All right, cool. Let's keep going here. All right, so students who might be doing this and wanting to submit, because if you are at home right now, and first of all, the most important thing is that you're handling your schoolwork. This is a different kind of environment, with online learning than most of you are used to. Okay, fine, not a problem. Do that, right? But if you find you have some time and there's a group that you quite care about, so maybe it's the Humane Society or whatever, call them up. If they've still got people working there, you might be able to find somebody that you can talk to and get them to send you some pictures and things like that. And we would love for you to take part in our current little project, right? Additionally, for those of you who are adults who are looking to create like little videos about nonprofits that might inspire other adults or kids to like go and volunteer their time, just send them to us, right? So we've got on our site, we have got on the front page plenty of information about the different things we do, right? So you look here and we've got like our celebrating service piece. Actually, I should get you a link to celebrating service before I finish this as well, because we're every day this month we're sharing a cool video about service to others that kids have made. And then we've got like contests down here about academic stuff and service contests. This is the one that we were talking about. So feel free to go there and take a look, because I would be very happy for you to do that. Chris says, how can I get a copy of this seminar to share with my Rotary district to send to all clubs in District 7040? Well, Chris, I am recording this bad boy right now, and after I finish, I'll process it and I'll send everyone who registered, as in all of you, a link so that you can get back and see it. Happy to help. All right, so there you go. Let's keep going. You may have some questions. So when we think about this possibility that we have, we've got a lot of time at home. Some folks are busy out the wazoo. I'm one of those. Some folks are like, given the way my work is, I got a lot of time on my hands right now. This might be a perfect time to tell the story of a local nonprofit that is out there and needs somebody to help them, tell their stories and cut loose, some more support and new volunteers and things like that. So I hope that's something that'll be interesting to you. So what questions do you have? Toss any questions that may come to mind into the chat. I'll be happy to answer them as best I can, right? But just know that you can also contact me via the Contact Us page on NextVista. So if you go to nextvista.org, in the upper right here, there's a contact page, and anything you send there will go ultimately to me. From Sandy, is there a size or time limit for the videos? Okay, so I assume you're talking about in Spark specifically, because they're, for the contest, okay, good, you are. So I believe you can make pretty long videos in Spark. I don't know what the limits are, actually. I feel like I've seen some really, really long ones. However, just keep coming back to that thing of, if you want the video to be a good video, the longer it is, the harder it is to make it good, right? Because it's, just keeping the attention of the viewer is no small thing. And that's why people who are professional, like movie makers, are good at it, because they find out how to keep people's attention over the long haul. Can students participate as an individual and not as part of a teacher's class? Absolutely. Yeah. And so what we ask people to do is to be connected, students to be connected to a teacher or a parent or guardian. And that person is actually the person who will typically submit the info for any project videos that we have in there. Great presentation, love it. I'd like to share with my teachers and fellow Rotarians. Absolutely, Catherine. What I'll do is, when I send that email to you, it'll give you the link to come back to the webinars page, where I'll have posted the recording that we're making right now, plus the slides and the links that I shared as a part of it also. So you'll be able to get back to any of those pieces multiple ways. And if you have any trouble at all, just send me an email, or go to contact on that page, and I'll be able to handle that for you. All right. So here is one way that you can get questions to me, info@nextvista.org, nextvista.org. And happy for you to let me know, hey, we're interested in doing this. I'm interested in having students do this. I want to use this for teaching in some fashion. Could you help me with this idea? Happy to do so. That's what my little nonprofit is about. I am a proud educator, and I am a proud Rotarian. And educators who don't know what I'm talking about when I say Rotarian, you should learn what these service clubs are about. There are groups in the community that get together, and they just share their energy and their talents and their time and ways to make the communities better. And if you've never thought about joining a service club, I would encourage you to give that a shot, because there are so many good ones out there. These are people that you just inspire you, and that's what I get out of Rotary, is weekly inspiration, right? My dad is a third-generation Rotarian. Oh, that's awesome, Christine. That would make you a fourth generation if you join. I think that's a good plan, right? And let me also, I should do this. Let me get my my Rotary Club link, and actually you can get there via rotary.cool, which I think is great. All right. If you go to rotary.cool, what you're going to do is you're going to find the Rotary E-Club of Silicon Valley. Now, if you are already in another Rotary Club, I want you to know about this, not to switch your membership to us. Don't do that. But on the other hand, what you should do is come to our club whenever you need to make up a missed meeting, right? Because we're very happy for you to come at any time. It can be at 11 p.m. at night or 4 a.m. in the morning or anything like that. So no problem at all. We'd love to have you come in and join us, any given week. We get so many good speakers. We just recorded a member of the British House of Lords on last Friday. We had a recording, also from a person from Project Amigo, this group that does all this great work for kids in Mexico. We had another recording about anxiousness under COVID-19, right? We've got one coming up on Sunday, and then another one Monday night. So we do all these kind of cool recordings of great speakers, and we'd love to have you join in. All right. With that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop sharing. There's me again. Ding. All right. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish the recording. But anybody who is attending and has questions, you can keep asking questions. I'm happy to talk to you about Rotary. I'm happy to talk to you about storytelling. I'm happy to talk to you about the video projects. Any of those will be just fine. So with that, I'm going to finish the recording. If you've been watching the recording, remember on the webinars page, you can get back to the slides. You can get to the links that I've shared as well. If you have any trouble finding it, just let me know. But keep an eye on that webinars page in order to just learn about the different things that we share for all sorts of folks. And thank you again for watching.